Welcome to Be Kind Entertainment. We are featuring kind Canadians, and there's so many of them. This week, we have the kindest guy on radio who has played the soundtrack to my life in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's Stu Jeffries. Welcome.
Thanks, Annie. Great to be here.
So, congratulations on an amazing Make-A-Wish Minute campaign. Tell me about the generosity and kindness of Canadians.
It was this year more than ever was crazy. A little backtrack. We started this campaign some 5 years ago, and we started it with not very lofty expectations. As a matter of fact, it was sort of towards the year end, and we had some money. We wanted to give it to somebody. We couldn't figure out what to do, and Make-A-Wish kind of came top of mind somehow. And we thought, okay, well, why don't we do a little radio-a-thon in the last couple of weeks heading into Christmas and see if we can grant a wish or two. And wishes are about 10 grand. So we managed to do, I think we set out to do 2 wishes. We managed to do 4 that first year. And when we were doing sort of the postmortem on that, my boss at the time said, we should be embarrassed with this amount. We're a Toronto radio station. We have, a great cumulative listeners. We've got, and it's Christmas time and people have money and we could do way better than this. So let's put a little more thought into this next year. And we did. And then that year we raised, I'm guessing now it seems like it was yesterday. Now it seems so long ago, but I think it was about, I don't know, over 100, 80. And then the year after that was over 100 on the way to 2 and so on. And so by the time we got to our 5th year, and this year being the pandemic, we set a goal for 150,000 or 15 wishes. And we were kind of, shifting in our seats thinking, I don't know, man, this is a terrible year. I don't know if we can do that, but let's start there and see what happens. We blew past that, and then we blew past 200, and then we blew past 5. Yeah. And it was almost like every time we set a new goal, we set it up as this is the best kind of greedy. This is all about kids who, by the way, in the pandemic now are grounded. They can't go anywhere. Those who wanted to do can't fly. It's just awful. And people just responded. And by the time it was all said and done, $472,000 in one, so nearly $500,000 in one campaign during a pandemic. And it took us 5 years to reach $1 million because of this campaign. And yet in 1 year, and the worst year ever, we managed $500,000. So, when you talk about the generosity of our listeners, it's one thing. And I say it over and over again, it's overwhelming. It's not surprising, but it's overwhelming. And you feel that people just want to give. They want to do something. They can't. I don't think anybody's felt more helpless than ever before during a pandemic. You can't do anything but stay at home, wear a mask, and keep your distance. And you feel still you're not doing enough, right? And people are dying in long-term care, and kids are suffering. Kids can't take the Make-A-Wish trips, and tragically, some left us without that. And people were like, "Oh my God, I can do this. We can give to this." And it was like we did the campaign. It was 3 weeks long, and man, I was a mess by the 3rd week. Just by talking about it and talking about what they're doing, and I'm talking about people that donated, what they're doing and where their money is going, and how beautiful it was just like every day, right? Every day was something new. We auctioned off a book by Brian Burke, which was called, or it was all about his life in hockey. And the guy's a legendary general manager in sports and so on, and a curmudgeon and all of that stuff, but a good man. And we thought, okay, we'll auction off an autograph book from Brian, and he would leave a voicemail message for you as well. And we thought, okay, that's good for $100. We thought, nearly 1,000. Morgan Riley gave us a jersey to auction off with his signature on it. And we thought, okay, Leaf fans are crazy, so we'll probably get 1,000 for this. We got 3,000, nearly $4,000 for it. So, and people, it wasn't about the object. It was about, oh, good, I can give to this. Let me give to this. And it just continued and steamrolled and snowballed. And here we are, nearly $500,000 raised. When you talk about, talking about the generosity of the listeners, words fail me. It's just amazing. And it also is the feeling of the actual give during this campaign. It just goes right to your heart. I mentioned, we do this at Christmas time, and there's something about, I love this time of year, Christmas time, the magic of the year, the fact that it's completely shut down because of COVID, and you can't go to the Christmas markets and get out there and experience all that vibe. But nothing speaks to people more than Christmas time and kids, and they came through. They came through, even as I'm talking about this, it happened. Yeah, they came through so large that yeah, it was our best ever.
And to your point, I think kindness begets kindness. So
yeah,
the more people give, the more they give, if that makes sense.
For sure. And I often say I have a feature on the show called Tell Me Something Good, which is just basically good news stories of the day. And I always say good gets good, gets good, gets good. It is. And well, you've got a network, exactly what it's all about, right? People, this is way stronger than any sort of hate that you can muster anywhere else. But people need to believe that, like, giving of yourself, lifting somebody else up. It's just the most incredible feeling you can get. And it's totally selfish, right? I mean, like, if I would give to somebody, I give because it makes me feel so good. When I tell good stories, it makes me feel so good. Yes, it's selfish because I feel good, but it's a genuine, oh my God, like I'm doing something that's, that's good and meaningful and helpful to a person I may or may not know. And I mean, come on, like that. I had a story today about a New York, a high-end New York apartment complex. And the cleaning woman that worked there for years was laid off because of COVID. She ended up having to move in with her sister. No money. And the people in this high-end apartment complex loved her. And so they all got together. They pooled their money. And of course, they got a ton of it. They pooled their money and they gave her the penthouse suite in that apartment with rent paid for 2 years. And they basically, it was set up for, they invited her down. She thought she had a new cleaning assignment, and they walked her around this penthouse and showed her everything. And all she's thinking is, okay, I got to clean that. I got to clean that. And they're like, no, you're living here, and handed her the keys. Like, oh my God.
I'm like, just getting like all goosey bumped. And so funny, I listened to your little segment, and I'm on the way home from dropping the kids off. So I haven't had coffee, and sometimes I'm just crying, right? People are probably thinking, looking at me in the car, they're like, wow, that lady had a hard drop off. Like, you're going to see kids again, lady. Don't worry about it. But it's just that morning release of like happy, ugly crying.
Yes, exactly. And for me, I've always been like way overly sensitive, and my first son, hates me for it because he's got the same disease where you get something and it goes the first react, it goes right to your heart, right? And then when it goes to your heart, you cry. Like, you see a commercial that stirs you, you hear just a small story that stirs you, and you're a mess, right? Between the Make-A-Wish campaign and Tell Me Something Good, it's the best kind of feeling. But as a broadcaster, you got to try and maintain some sort of level of sanity while you're reading it. And there are times when I can barely get through that story without melting down.
But it's in the most authentic way, I think, and people appreciate that because you can tell. And I feel that you inspire people because of your kindness. And I feel like Be Kind Entertainment becomes an inspiration. You inspire someone, then it begets kindness, and it passes forward. So I feel like you are the inspiration. There should be a song that cuts in right now.
You know what? I and thank you for saying that. It's really nice. I'm uncomfortable with that, and I and just because I don't know, as soon as it was announced that we were an essential service in radio, I'm like, I've never been essential in anything, and to be considered that way, and then to hear people that I talk to call me all the time and say, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't do, this would be awful. Like, there's a sense of normalcy, and you're inspiring, and it's, although it's an unbelievably sweet thing to say, it's like, it doesn't feel, I don't do it for that. It doesn't feel that way. For me, it feels something that I would do and something that you would do. So why don't we just do it, And
so it's a gift. It's a gift, and you share it with everyone.
Right. Okay. Yep. All right. Let's go with that.
Look at it like that. Okay. It's a gift, and you share it, and then you play some song that brings us back to a better time, and then it's all wrapped up.
Right.
And that's where entertainment and charity meet.